What's going on, everybody? I'm DJ Av, and this is a mixing for video. I was thinking about doing a series like this, instead of just throwing everything in a mixing and mastering playlist and whatnot, because I actually get a lot of views off those, and so that actually helps people. So, in support of that, smash the like button if you really like for me to do a series on that, where I just randomly pick producers, artists, or whatnot, that just work in FL Studio, and kind of just like give them a boost, to add to their ever so growing career, because every last person that I've done has done some great stuff, from Mac Fadeaway Mafia to OG Chris, which is blowing up out there. I don't know where he's from, but he's blowing up on his side, his end. And for this guy, Protocol 11, which had an excellent beat in Beat Review Tuesday, but the mix needed much help. And observing from the beginning of this mix or whatnot, and I'm going to play the track. I apologize for just blaring, but from looking at it or whatnot, he did a lot of things right, and then there's a few things that he could have done to improve it. But for the most part, he got some of the main things that you want to do when you want to mix. So I'm going to go ahead and play the track, and I'm going to play it in its somewhat entirety. And I'm going to start off with kind of the issue, which is not really an issue on his level. It's more on my level. As my laptop, this old laptop I got, is crap. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So, that's not an issue on his end or on all. It's just more on my end, being able to play it as well as local record, which is a strong multitasking issue when you're recording on the same PC as you're mixing, or doing like your beats and stuff, which is going to be solved soon as they send my damn new gaming laptop. So, it's cool that he actually used hardcore to bring different kind of harmonics to this spacious type track, which is called Dark Space. And for the most part, it brings very great subtlety. Is very system heavy, as many harmonically sound distortion type plugins can be. So I'm going to subtract that, and we're going to play it. I love that part, man. That part rides. Yeah. Okay, so right now I'm just naming stuff, because how in the world would you be able to mix if you don't know what you're aiming for? And it can be quite confusing, and certain things can be organized. And there's cool things. There's a cool way to do that. This is one of the reasons why you should go and everybody should upgrade to 12. Because all you had to do, you could put anything anywhere you want on the mixer, but FL Studio, one of the things that FL Studio soars over every other DAW in is that it doesn't matter what you do, because there's so many ways to just move it around. And I'm pressing Alt and left cursor or right cursor to move these tracks over. And it won't it won't inadvertently hurt your mixing cabinets or anything like that. And if you're wondering what a mixing cabinet is, it's this stuff over here. I'm gonna move the kick over. Yeah, he has some interesting stuff going on. I'm gonna move that shoddy red chan over. Gonna move that perk over. And I'm gonna continue from there. So that's a hot tip there. Alt and cursor, in FL Studio to kind of organize your tracks. So that's a gross beat. That is awesome. This guy's a genius, by the way. I just wanted to point that out. Wow. I know that's not a synth, but that's the 808. Cool synth. Cool synth. I'll call that the hook synth, so smooth little hi-hat section there. Hats. And you can see, just from that, I'm able to kind of like get the, cause the thing was about this track that was an issue for me was the fact that it was so loud. It was so freaking loud, and it didn't preserve any of the dynamic range. And this track is beautiful. I know people will be like, "Well, this track is beautiful. It's like a whole bunch of noises. Noise is beautiful." And Protocol 11 took such a mighty risk in his music, and it's so unapologetic. And shouts out to him for doing that. Not many people can do that. TM88 is probably one of the most sensational producers of our time, because he could do melodic stuff, but he could do straight out, flat out weird stuff. And he's not just the only one. Once again, Protocol 11. But here we go. We're gonna go back into it. And right now I'm just naming stuff. So and for those who's just wondering, like, how am I naming, like, the channels or whatever, I'm just right-clicking on the insert channel on the mixer and just selecting rename, then go to that drop-down arrow, and then pick wherever I feel is, the particular name I want to use it, instead of just typing it in. Typing it in is kind of annoying. Woo. Woo. As I can see, it's this track is very extravagant. I mean, we're at like 15 tracks named, and I'm pretty sure that insert 11 is something. But we're gonna work on this organizing the particular areas because one of the strenuous problems of this track is that it is very, 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 very complex, and he actually added a lot of effects, which is cool. Yeah, that was a little rhymey. And as we just move stuff over, hopefully this is a trick of the trade. Seems like he knows what he's doing. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff in here that he used in Sound Goodalizer. I like how you put spaces in between it. Spaces in between. It's actually cool to see how people think. Now here's a funny little thing here that I see in his master cabinet. He actually has press work in there, and and I'm gonna go and see how his press work is set up because the track is loud. It is very loud, and if you draw your attention to this area right here, you'll see that he has the master volume pulled all the way down. And I don't know if it's just pulling up or not. Hopefully it is. Press work. Here you go. And he used a preset. He used mastering transparent. And what mastering transparent is in press work is it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool processing preset, which utilizes transparency loudness. And transparency loudness, what transparency loudness does is that it makes your stuff extremely loud. And and it's supposed to not distort the track, but unfortunately the way the track is being pushed and how lethal is being pushed, because you actually see that the attack on this compressor is set to no. Like it's no attack, like there's no wiggle room for the compressor. It's going to compress like that. That's what that's saying. So if you have the attack all the way up here, it's taking some time for the compressor to work, so it's being pushed. And then he has the threshold is being it's slightly pushed over. Then you got not little to no soft knee, which is cool because the track has aggressive tendencies. And there's a mixture right here is pretty much where parallel compression is. So he has basically 50% dry, 50% wet in there. And, did not mess with the level at all or anything, or the preset is basically. And so, so it's half compressed and half dry signal of just like the regular track. So kind of gives it an agitated aggressiveness. However, I definitely have a master preset bank. I haven't sold it or anything like that on DJMcCree.net because I don't think everybody has press work, but it is pretty legit. But anyways, but I'm gonna go ahead and seeing that I live in press work as of 2015 and now, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna reset that, and we're gonna look at the dB meter. I'm still here, guys. Now, there's not going to be any dramatic differences here now because I have yet to do my work on press work right now. One thing I will definitely, I enjoyed the fact that he actually had more of a hard knee on there, so I'm going to actually keep it there. I might roll off some of the natural output of this, and I might even work with him and, use a little bit of parallel compression. However, where I'm gonna do some subtle differences is I'm gonna double left click on that and have slight attack where the compression is gonna kick in, and slight release, maybe so right here. And here's the thing about RMS that people may or may not understand. Now RMS, and once again, it's gonna be a long lesson. It might be 30 minutes, but anyways, RMS is basically where you will, if you have more on this end, this will have a much more of a impact on your drums, on the aggressiveness, much more so. That is ideal for like drums. If you want your drums to be snappy, punchy, and crunchy. If people actually like crunchiness, some people don't like crunchiness, but this side is more musical, meaning to be a little bit more softer, more pleasurable for people, normal people's ears, or wherever normal is these days, or more or less kind of like orchestrated type compression attack or whatever. So I kind of like to meet in between here or so for now. But the main issue of this track, if you pay attention and you see how low he has it, which that I don't have a problem with because he's using upwards compression and parallel. Is that it is extremely like he's pushing it so hard that the natural harmonics of the particular sounds that he's using are going to be very, very aggressive. So in that end, you can actually lower a lot of the stuff. I think that sound is pretty good. Now, here's a peculiar thing that I've been doing as of late. As you could feel, everything, all the natural frequencies in the spectrum are dead center, which is cool. A lot of the stuff that you need is in the middle of the mix. But there are certain things that are so in the middle of the mix that you cannot hear it. Now, if you pan certain instruments or whatever, you give it its own room and its own space, and it's not in the way. And in some ways, if you can't hear a certain sound and you pan it, you will actually hear it more if you pan it slightly left or slightly right. And we're gonna actually experiment with that so we can actually add more clarity to this track. Gonna do one better for this particular area right here, which is far too complex for that kick drum. That kick drum is a little bit distorted, which is fine because he used Camel Crusher, so that's his initial idea. But we're gonna restore some of the richness to that. And we're gonna go and just default it. What the heck is, I wonder what drumkit is, but so we're gonna just default it, and then we're gonna rename it back to kick. So I appreciate everybody that's been hanging in with me, because there's some pretty cool stuff for somebody that might have a track that's loud but not rich in dynamic range. Now, once again, I have a big kick, how to get a big, nice, solid kick that punches and doesn't, massively distort. I have a tutorial on that. So I have Maximus, which I still love. Now, there's nothing wrong with Maximus at all. I know a lot of people are upset that I abandoned it, but I haven't necessarily abandoned it. What I do like to use Maximus for is that it's sonic neutrality, that it doesn't, color the mix much like a press work, because press work is much more kind of like a little bit of a tube, has this nice saturation, which can make it sonically neutral. I'll get into that a little later, but we're gonna make this kick big, but we're gonna do what all he did in just one Maximus, and that will let me save. That will save a lot of CPU time. So I'm gonna take that attack out and ahead, because that is just complex, and we're gonna keep it simple. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna boost the low end of frequency spectrum of the kick drum, and then we're gonna add a little bit of mid content, because they have both both low and mid content. You'll see it once I get into it, and that's gonna add a nice amount of punch. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mono it. I actually mono the 808 to keep it dead center, because I want those two areas to just restore the balance of this track instead of it being everywhere. And then just give the mid content some stereo separation. And what that's going to do is it's going to decrease the amount of the phase clashes that were kind of getting in the way of the track actually sounding clear, instead of me saying sounding better, because it might not sound better to Protocol 11, but it is what it is. These are some things I just want to show. So as you can see, the track actually has a little bit more room. Oh man, this track is fire. It's a nice little trick, because I'm gonna look at his. Okay, so what he did was he actually chopped off a little bit of. He actually chopped off a lot of the low and mid content of that hi-hat. But here's a tip about the fruity parametric EQ. Using these causes a lot of delay in your track. You know, the more you use those, they actually kind of take away from your track's overall dynamic range and everything that will make your track excel in terms of its sound quality. There is something that's a little bit older than that is much more efficient and actually will sweeten those hi-hats, because those hi-hats are they're begging, they're still a little dull, but they're at the same time it is a crunch time type thing. I want to, all right, see, I'm over here talking, but there is, and it's actually a good default. It's called hi-hat sizzle. I've been using this for quite a while, and it is gonna do exactly the same thing, and we're just gonna experiment with that. And those who are just wondering, like, why the kick is going to be distorted. It's fine. Well, it's not. It's in the red, but it's fine because it's just a strong, punchy kick, and it's not overtaking anything else in this track, as you can see. And he actually boosts. Once again, he boosted this with hardcore. I want to see actually. Heck no. I actually don't. I don't prefer that at all. I think I could get him something with less CPU usage. That's something that he might have, and I can use Blood Overdrive. Blood Overdrive. Perhaps it would help if I actually initiated it, and you know, we're gonna go back and start. There's a sound that I hear in the track, and I don't know where it's at. It's like a wham, wham, wham. Let's see if it's over here. Okay, so that's cool. It's that synth right here. This sound definitely needs to go back up now that I actually torch it out. Might even, let's go ahead and. I don't mind that particular sound effect actually being louder. What's up with the channel here? We'll look at the channel rack. Is it the bubble down? Yes. There we go. Normalizing brings the actual waveform to 0 dB flat. So we're gonna I'm gonna observe something that you can't see. I'm gonna observe the actual loudness of it on my UV. On my VU. So yes, it is distorted. So I'm gonna bring it down to about 6.8. We're gonna find a space, because with that particular synth right there that's doing that sound, I'm gonna do a resonance, a bell is what most people call it, but I could call it a resonance peak notch, which is something in sound designing which you use to kind of attenuate certain harmonics in specific frequencies, doing a frequency sweep so it can find the room within the track, or actually, within the sound that you're creating. So as you can see, when I swept that particular sound over to right about here, about 638 hertz, it found itself within the mix. So this is still troublesome. I'm gonna roll that down a little bit. So that's basically about it. I just wanted to kind of tweak the track so it's just not overly punchy. I mean, I'm still gonna work on it, because I usually at stuff like this for like maybe hours or so, just to make sure it's fine. One thing in particular I just wanted to point out, and I finally got a full version of this, And I usually use the J37 stereo, but the J37 plugin for tape saturation, because double compression is pretty cool, especially when you tape compress and then you polish it off with the processor, the Pressworks processor. It actually brings some sexiness to the mix. But where the heck is it at? Gosh darn it. Yeah. But I'm gonna add some tape compression of some sort. Hey, where is it? Where is it, guys? I know y'all can see it. Saturation knob, satin. Satin doesn't even work for me. I don't know why. It's a slight issue. It's the way I. Yeah. I don't strip virtual mix. Okay, there goes virtual tape machines. The Slate Digital's virtual tape machines it's pretty cool. I much prefer the J37 for what it's worth, but you know, this right here has its uses. It's not so bad. It's pretty affordable in terms of the CPU for me right now. And just going through the stream, ooh, did you see that? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna process just process it a little bit, bring it to 15 IPS tape, and switch it to the FG456. I might use high bias. I'm not sure. And you know, I'm gonna go from there. You hear the difference? And once again, it rolled off like the extra distortion from the kick, and you can actually hear it squeeze the track a little bit more, and just let a teensy bits of like the messier side content of the low end escape, but you know, shaving off the edge of it, and then shaving off the edge off the top end, but letting the simmer of the track go through. Track is getting a little messy CPU wise, and there's nothing I can do about that. Is in terms. Oh, actually, it is. Sorry about that. I'll go to the micros and smart. Yeah, I'm gonna go from there. He has some pretty cool stuff that he used. You know, he used Frostbite, which is something that Audio Things gave me was gracious enough to give me a looksy poo at. And you know, Frostbite, it boy, I tell you, it does a lot. I mean, I would love to explain it, but I'll do that in another video. But yeah, it's very good for very spacious tracks like this. Very crazy melodies and like very dark, dense, scary type tracks. I mean, it works wonders. But anyways, you know, if you like this video, give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave it in the comment section. I appreciate it if you made it through all 41 minutes of this video. I really wanted to work with Protocol 11. I appreciate him for allowing me to do so. And I'm going to work more on this and then send him back the actual, you know, mix of this or whatnot. And, you know, because this is definitely for Zombie Headquarters Radio, which is coming very soon. I already got the artwork back. So, you know, it's going to be, if you like Trap 10 Those Tunes Radio, boy, you're going to love this. Mac is back on the track, and I think he would love something like this as well, you know, because he has something crazy and scary, and I mean, it's next level like this, I believe. And you know, a lot of people Swang, Trap Productions, it's a lot of people, TM88, Eat the Sacii, of course. It's gonna be real. I think I might slide in some sizzle music or whatnot if y'all haven't heard some sizzle. Yeah. So anyways, you guys, I appreciate y'all for your time. I'm DJ Av, and I'm out.